Hi, this is Russell Whitney with Expert Insider, where I get to interview experts that are in their field of industry and entrepreneurs, business owners, investors, and I try to get some of the great information and nuggets that I can share with you to help you and your business get to the next level. Now, I'm sitting here with one of my great friends, mentors, Mr. Kevin Harrington. I'm glad to
Russell,
have you here.
good to see you, buddy.
And just for those of you that don't know, Kevin Harrington is a founder of ERA, Electronic Retailing Association, Entrepreneurs Organization, has done over $5 billion in product sales, both in TV infomercials, newspapers, direct mail, magazines, and internet.
Catalog, internet, yeah, $5 billion.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Over $5 billion, and one of his biggest missions right now is to help entrepreneurs. So this is part of the reason why we're doing the interview, is we want to give back to entrepreneurs like you, sitting at home, to help you get your business to the next level. He's also written 3 best-selling books, and he's getting ready to open his Rolodex. For those of you watching and want to get in business with Kevin, just like I have, he's opened his Rolodex to me, and this Rolodex is worth millions and millions of dollars. So Kevin, great to have you on the show.
Great to be here.
Awesome. So tell me a little bit, who's Kevin Harrington? What is this huge force in the business and the as seen on TV world? I mean, we see your name in print and media everywhere. Who are you, if you could summarize that in one sentence?
Well, okay, let's see. My wife might say different than I might say, but let me start. Okay.
Right.
No, I'm teasing. So I think I'm an entrepreneur, and my father was an entrepreneur, and when I was 11 years old, I started working inside my father's businesses, and he said, "You're going to be an entrepreneur like me." Okay, and so my mom wanted me to be a doctor or a lawyer, and so that's a whole other story unto itself. But actually, my 2 older sisters, one married a doctor, one married a lawyer, so I could be the entrepreneur then. So
right.
But my dad had restaurants, and steakhouses, Irish pubs, wing joints, you name it. He had, catering halls, etc. But I realized, starting at 11 years old, working in there, I didn't want to be in that business, right? I wanted something that had unlimited income potential.
Yeah.
And so one day when I was watching the Discovery Channel, the screen went dark and then bars came up, and I found that the 6 hours a day, Discovery had bars on the screen. So I cut a deal to start putting products on the air. And then we did that on Discovery, then we went to other channels, then we went around the world, and that became a public company that grew to hundreds of millions, $500+ million in sales. So what I loved about that was, I had unlimited income potential, because we could take a product and sell it in 100 countries, 20 languages, all around the world, but I had set up that infrastructure. Okay. So I had gone from the U.S., went to London and opened an office. We opened an office in Saudi Arabia, Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, and Sao Paulo, Brazil, and Tokyo. Right. And so we had these beachheads where we could take our products, send them to the London office, and then boom, we had 75 people over there, and we were selling it all over 16 countries in Europe. And then we'd send it to Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. We're all over the 20 Arabic countries down there. We'd send it down to Sao Paulo. We're all over the 15 countries in Latin America. Send it over to Tokyo, boom. So that is what we've developed, and we have, is that infrastructure on a global basis.
Right. So basically, you found a challenge with, or a problem with TV and having all the airspace that was empty, created a solution, and this is what I find in a lot of entrepreneurs, is they always look at finding challenges, or they create a solution, come up with new innovation, but you set up instant distribution. How quickly was that able to scale for you?
Well, in the U.S. it scaled very quickly, but we needed capital because we had to have inventory, right? So we had to raise money. That was not easy, because I was a young, I was a 20-some-year-old young entrepreneur needing millions of dollars. Right?
And I'm sure a lot of people are going to ask that question. And sometimes on the interview I'll just interrupt, because raising money is a big one. Even for me, I want to look for. Yeah. And I know a lot of investors, a lot of you sitting at home watching this right now, business owners looking for ways to raise capital. How do you do that?
So there's a lot of different ways you raise money, but it depends on if you have cash flow or are you a complete startup. So first of all, there's there's 10 different investment strategies, okay? And I call it, investors have a sweet spot of one of these kind of strategies. So some want to see very healthy profits before they're going to invest. So that means they're not even going to invest in a startup. So don't waste your time with that guy. Others, though, want to see great and fast geometrical growth, which means they focus on, do you have a customer acquisition strategy?
Gotcha.
And if you do, then they'll invest in Facebook.
All right.
Mark Zuckerberg had a customer acquisition strategy to get to 1 billion plus customers, right?
Okay.
And so he wasn't making any money.
To acquire customers quickly.
Yes.
Okay.
He wasn't making any money. He was losing huge amounts of money. So the guy that wants to see profits isn't going to invest in Facebook, okay?
Right.
But the guy that wants to see customer acquisition wants to invest in that. So, and then there's other people that focus on IP, patents, others that focus on strong management team. So, I mean, look, at the end of the day, you can go to individual investors, you can go to investment bankers, you can do crowdfunding, you can call rich uncles and relatives. There's a whole host of ways. There's tons of money out there. There's more money out there than there actually are deals, believe it or not, because there's so many people that have made good money that are willing to reinvest it, but they're very particular of what they're looking for. So you have to be able to put your investment into a presentation that's going to be attractive to them and their sweet spot.
I think, and that's one of the biggest things that I find in challenges with entrepreneurs is their presentation that they bring to the table.
Absolutely.
So just like you said, there's more money than there is deals out there. And I have people always coming to me wanting to pitch a deal, but they just don't really have a good pitch at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
Maybe they have a good product, and I always tell them it's in the pitch. If your pitch is good, I mean, what would you say on that? Is it the pitch or the product?
Well, look,
I mean, a little combination.
It's got to be. It's got to be both. But I will say that plenty of deals have gotten funded that had a great pitch.
Right.
They ended up not being successful, but they got the money because they had the pitch.
Right.
And at the end of the day, the pitch is in the especially if you're a startup.
Right.
If you're a startup, there is no cash flow that you can show. Okay, so you're kind of taking a little bit of a risk when you're investing in a startup. So the pitch is very important there.
Right.
Okay, but yeah, I believe that. I'll say it this way. Investors, maybe close your ears. You can have a crappy product and still raise money. Okay, if you have a good pitch.
Right.
Okay, so
And I'm sure you've been through a couple of those.
I've
before.
seen it. Yeah, absolutely.
What's the most amount of money you raise for a project?
In any one individual deal, about 40 million.
40 million.
40 million on one deal.
On one deal. What was the deal?
That was a company called Omnicom Studios, and it ended up to be a public company. We had Kathy Hilton and Rick Hilton as celebrity owners, and we actually got Paris involved at one point. So we had we bought a studio. We had a production studio. We had the Hiltons. We had beauty products that we launched with, and then we expanded it out. But that started with 3 million, then it went to 10 million in raise and capital. But we paraded the Hiltons around as like, hey, some pretty famous folks, and we got it. We had some. It was a complete startup, no sales. But it kicked off pretty quickly with sales and profits, and was a pretty cool little venture for a while.
Awesome, cool.
Yeah.
You're watching Expert Insider. Stay tuned, where part 2, I talk with Kevin about some of the hurdles and struggles in business, ways that you should maybe shortcut your process, and also one of the biggest things I know he wants to talk about and I want to get more of is the Rolodex that he has.